Hello, thanks to everyone who is watching and listening to this. This is John Horn, CEO of StubGroup. We are a digital advertising agency and premier Google partner that helps businesses dominate Google Ads and make money online. And today I'm very excited to be joined by a special guest, Dr. Robyn Graham. Dr. Graham is a business growth strategist and coach for Christian women. She is the host of the podcast, The Robyn Graham Show, and she's the author of the book, You, Me, and Anxiety. Robyn, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks, John. I'm super happy to be here.
All right, so lots to dig in today. I'm excited, got a bunch of questions together for you, but I'd say just to kick things off, could you share a little bit about your journey and what led you to become a business coach for purpose-driven women?
Absolutely. So my journey has been anything but linear. I went to college, got a doctorate in pharmacy, and for many years I worked in the medical field. A lot of that time was spent in marketing and communications and different areas like that. And about 13 years ago, as our kids were getting older, my husband has the same degree and we were both having to travel. We were two ships passing in the night basically, and the anxiety level in our home was starting to rise. And I noticed it specifically with my oldest son. And because I had suffered from anxiety, generalized anxiety and social anxiety my entire life, I was like, we have to make a change here. Photography had always been a hobby and a passion. And my husband said to me, you know, Rob, you always light up when you're doing photography. Like, I just see you're so happy. Why don't you do something with it? And I was like, oh gosh, like people will think I'm nuts. What could I possibly do? Well, I started a blog and I started, posting all my fine art photography and pictures of my kids and things like that. And in 6 weeks, I had my first branding client. So I did her branding photography for her website, her CD cover. She was an entertainer and songwriter and singer, and that I fell in love. I was like, this is what I want to do. So I focused on headshots and branding photography. And what I discovered was that the branding clients that I was working with did not know what to do with those images. They didn't know anything about SEO, and they really didn't have knowledge to build a solid foundation. They thought, oh, I'm going to have images to put on social media and that's going to make my business grow. But what they didn't have were the systems and processes, the SEO, all those back-end things, and the messaging that was completely clear to then give them that sustainability for their business. And so I started consulting with them, and that became just an add-on on my service menu. And I became a certified brand strategist, and then I ended up with a master's in Christian life coaching. So I now combine the two, because after a long period of time of doing both and the podcast and writing my book, I needed to scale back. And so my option was I gave up on the photography and I now just focus solely on the coaching.
Awesome. So from medical to photography to coaching, I love it. And like you said, it's not the path that you necessarily think when you start out in life, here's what I'm going to do. But I think those are the paths, from the people I interact with, that's where you drive the most value, is because you just learn different things from different disciplines, and you build that up obviously over time, and then you just create this unique perspective that you are now parlaying into helping other people with their businesses. So I love that.
Yeah.
One thing you mention a lot is, I was looking through your website, which check out therobyngraham.com. But on your website, you mention a lot purpose-driven. What does being purpose-driven mean to you?
To me, that means that we're not just doing things to do them. We feel like there's a greater purpose for us, that God has given us a purpose that He's called us to and wants us to actually take action to achieve that. And so I think of women or men who, they just feel that desire in their heart to do something, to have a purpose and to make an impact in it, while creating a successful foundation for financial success long-term, or financial stability, earning potential long-term.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So when it comes to that anxiety, what would you say are some of the key drivers that you see with the people that you coach, or even in your own life as you work through things? What are some of the key things that cause that anxiety that you try to help people overcome?
So at the point where I'm at with my coaching, it's more of a mindset focus than it is like treating anxiety per se. But whether you've had anxiety in your lifetime or not, the entrepreneurial journey will definitely trigger anxious thoughts, anxious feelings. We know that our beliefs will empower our thoughts empower our emotions, our feelings, and those in turn empower the choices we make and the behaviors we choose, which produce our results. So if we're in a place where we are doubting what our abilities are, doubting what our purpose is, then we're not going to have positive thoughts to be able to take action. So a lot of times that doubt and fear stems from somewhere, and it could be that it's a money mindset challenge. It could be that, so many people were taught, oh, money is bad, or whatever. And so really looking at where are those messages in the mind coming from, and then changing those thoughts. Our brains are so miraculous, we can actually change the neural pathways in our brain. So the more work we do to acknowledge that there are negative thoughts or anxious feelings coming into play, then we can work on those and change them. What I've seen a lot is, especially for new entrepreneurs, which is primarily who I work with, is they're coming from corporate, they've had their success, and now they're going to start a business, but they go on social media, and I say corporate, but it could be that they were a nurse or a doctor or something, whatever. They've had a successful career, and now they're going to become an entrepreneur, and it looks like everybody else that's doing something similar is, number one, already doing it and doing it so well that they'll never find clients, or two, that there's just not enough to go around, and that they're never going to be as successful as somebody else, so why even try? And when those doubts come into play, the comparison, the imposter syndrome, that's where that anxiety really sets in. So if you've already had a history of anxiety, those are going to be escalated faster. If you haven't had that journey with anxiety previously, those things are going to trigger anxiety. So it's really looking at, what I like to say is, let's put off social media. Let's not use that as the foundation. Like, worry about that after the foundation is actually established. And that would include your website, your SEO, really and truly defining your personal brand, your soulmate clients, and creating the processes and systems that are going to help you be streamlined, automated, have great customer service and client retention. So we focus on all those things first to decrease all of those distractions that can, and the chaos that can cause the chaos in our mind of anxiety and imposter syndrome.
What you said there made me think of the famous little graph of the entrepreneurial journey, where it's like, oh, everything is amazing, and then, oh, everything is terrible, and it's amazing, and it's always up and down. Never, okay, things are okay. But that's how it tends to be, especially when entrepreneurs really find fulfillment in their work, and you have, hey, this client is happy with me today, awesome, I'm the most amazing person, and then, oh, there's a fire, there's a problem, things aren't going right, and it's hard to not let those things impact you mentally and spiritually.
Yes, absolutely.
As you have these conversations with your clients and dig into things, are there any common questions that you like to ask them to help figure out where they're at and kind of where their roadblocks are?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we have to start with what are their goals for their business? And a lot of the things that we start with is what differentiates you, what makes you unique in your area of expertise or your niche, and then who are those people that you desire to work with, and what are their pain points, what are their needs, wants, and desires. We need to discover what makes us unique and who those people are that we're called to serve, because if we don't know those two things, we're not going to be able to reach them with our messages. And your good messaging, if you have clarity, and I like to say, being calm creates clarity or allows you to achieve clarity. So we kind of have to eliminate those distractions and the things that are holding us back from achieving clarity. But really having clarity around what differentiates us, what makes us unique, what about our journey has led us right to where we are today to serve the people that we know we can serve. having that clarity is going to give us more confidence. The more confident we are, the more we're going to be able to create clear messages and be consistent and show up in a way that is going to attract the people we're meant to work with and repel the ones we're not meant to work with, right? So your messaging goes both ways, and you know this. I mean, that's a key for ads, right?
100%.
Yeah, so we have to know all those things before we can even advance to the point of being able to do ads. We've got to be able to have that confidence and security in who we are as a personal brand, and then who those people are that we're going to be fulfilled serving, but also truly be able to help them and give them the results and the needs, fulfill the needs that they have as well.
I couldn't agree with that more. That's so often, we'll have a business reach out to us on the advertising side of things, looking to hire us for help there. And we're trying to figure out, okay, who's your target audience? What sets you apart? And often the answer is everyone. Everyone needs this, as many as possible. And that's never really truly the answer. It's, okay, what is, like you said, what is unique? What separates you from the competition? So even if you are getting into a crowded marketplace, which most marketplaces are crowded right now, there's still a way to say, this is what sets me apart. I think we can see that even in how you brand yourself. You have a very defined messaging, very specific type of client that you're looking to work with. And I think all the business owners, marketing people who are watching this could learn from that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It just like my career journey, that's been, a lot of ebbs and flows too.
100%. Always the journey is what counts, right? That's where the fun is.
That's right.
Can you share any examples of client transformation? Maybe that's not the best word, but any stories, clients you've worked with where you've helped take them from A to Z, and you found that to be particularly rewarding, and seeing how they took what you gave to them and ran with it.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of examples that I can give you. One was a home stager, and she had been in corporate for many years, and then she moved from her career to be a stay-at-home mom, and then she discovered this passion for real estate, home organization, interior design, and so she became a certified home stager. And she came to us with nothing, and we built the website. And I don't build websites myself. I have a designer that does that and does the graphic design and stuff. So we did that, her copy, her SEO, and all of those important things, the onboarding processes and all of that. And we launched her, and within 6 months to 9 months, she had well over exceeded her goal and for launching, and the number of clients and the money that she wanted to make. And within that time period, she was ranked number 2 on Google. Wow. So her business now, just a few years later, it's like she is the go-to. She has this huge warehouse full of interior decorating type things that she stages homes with, has an entire team. So to see her go from ground zero all the way to this huge success where she's the one the realtors want to work with is pretty cool. And another woman was a naturopathic doctor who had never defined her personal brand. Her website was like this dark green and black website with just words, no pictures, nothing. And we rebranded her. We did her website, crafted her messaging for her, taught her email marketing. And the craziest thing happened when she sent the email out to relaunch her business. She had so many new clients and old clients come back that she had a 6-month waiting list. So it's just, there's so much power when you have that clarity and when you really build that foundation around your personal brand and what makes you unique, and when you stay front of mind. Because if you don't stay front of mind with email marketing and other ways to market your business, then you're not going to attract the clients that you want to attract.
Or attract or keep them, like you mentioned.
Or keep them,
retention being so important. I'd love to dig into that a little bit too. As you're advising people on retention, on how to keep clients around for as long as possible, keep providing value to them as long as possible. what are some of the things that you focus on? What are some of maybe the pain points where you see people drop for this reason, and what can businesses do to solve those pain points?
So if we go back to the basics, you think about trust and how important trust is for someone to hire you. When they trust you, they're confident that you're going to be able to serve them. So if you bring people into your business and you're telling them you're going to give them XYZ, but then the onboarding process is so haphazard and there's all these mistakes and things are falling through the cracks, what does that do? That immediately puts doubt into their mind, right? So then that skepticism can stay with them throughout that journey of working with you, or it can, you can rebuild that trust, right, over time. But if those processes aren't in place and things aren't smooth, you're already going to trigger some of that doubt. And then you're going to have to work twice as hard to be able to retain them, to make sure that they're going to believe in you again, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one thing, is just having those streamlined processes and automation. And if you think about and I've actually had this experience where someone I had hired to help me with something became ill, and she did not have processes in place. She didn't have a backup team member. And so then what was supposed to be done for me could not be done. So, if you can't go to work one day, who's going to cover for you? Is there a process to let everybody know exactly what needs to be done in order to fulfill the client's needs? So I'm a big believer in having those processes mapped out, that standard operating procedures, if you will, mapped out from the get-go. There's a book by Michael Gerber called E-Myth Revisited, and if the listeners haven't read that book, it's a really important book for establishing those parameters for long-term success when you build that foundation, but have those processes in place. But I would say for client retention, that's a big one, because that also then influences their desire to leave you a great testimony and to refer you to other people. Relationship marketing is huge. So as you're working with people, if you can build those relationships with them, and that starts from your marketing, right? Really being trustworthy, showing up with consistency. Your brand is cohesive across every platform that you're on, and it's consistent. Like, you are actually there and providing value on a regular basis, whether that's through email marketing, blog posts, podcasts, social media, whatever your platform of choice is, but you're showing up and you're building those relationships with your community. And then that community becomes oftentimes your clients, but also your biggest referral source.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of people, I think, can get focused on just the one-to-one aspect too, which is incredibly important, obviously, but forget that word of mouth is the best marketing in existence. And I say that as an advertiser that's focused on paid ads, but word of mouth is always going to be the best thing, because you have credibility, you have direct contact, you have somebody vouching for you, and if your experience that you're providing to your customers is not one that encourages them and comforts them to recommend you to other people, that's really concerning and something to be worked on. Of course, that said, all of us, we're humans, we make mistakes, even with the best processes in place. So when those mistakes happen, how do you recommend to deal with a mistake? Are there any tactics and strategies that you found to be effective?
Well, first and foremost, correct the mistake, right? But even more important than that is acknowledge it. Like, if a mistake was made, acknowledge that it was made, and then state clearly what you're going to do to fix it. Yeah. I think oftentimes, people will make a mistake and then they want to hide behind the mistake, like, oh, I didn't do that. Or, well, no, it happened. So let's just face the reality that this mistake happened, and I'm going to fix it by doing X, Y, Z. The more we show that we care and that we're willing to admit that we made an error, because we are human, we're not perfect, the more people are going to trust us. And I think we sometimes as humans forget that, right? And I think, you asked me before about the anxiety and mindset, is so many people, especially women, struggle with perfectionism, and especially people that are high achievers and strive for great levels of success. And we're not perfect, and people are more likely to trust us when we let our guard down and don't try to be perfect. It's not achievable. And then if we are presenting ourselves that way, we're going to intimidate people to the point, well, she's too perfect. Like, she would never want to work with me. And then they, go away. So there is a fine line between that. And I think it's really important just to be able to say, oh, I made a mistake. But here's how I'm going to fix it so that it doesn't happen again. And then make sure you ask them, is there anything else that I missed or that I need to do to make amends for this?
I think that's super important. I've seen firsthand, and also I've seen studies showing that when you say, like you said, when you take responsibility for a mistake, say, hey, I messed up, here's going to fix it. Often that in and of itself, like you said, creates even more loyalty and confidence than if you never made the mistake to begin with, because they see how you handle the relationship. And you'll see this, sometimes when you look at reviews online, someone's incredibly mad, they leave this terrible review, and then you see the follow-up of, hey, actually they dealt with this, now I'm a customer for life because they took ownership, and here's what they did, and now I love them. And that's an opportunity. Obviously, mitigating that as much as possible, like you said, with processes is good. We don't really want to have to create that opportunity, but when it exists, take the most of it for sure. Circling back to social media that you mentioned, where there's so much going on social media, so many entrepreneurs, so much noise on there. Do you advise to, say, so you mentioned a lot of people you work with coming out of corporate or quote unquote 9-to-5 job, coming into entrepreneurship. Do you recommend that they literally don't look at social media at all? Do you recommend that they have specific criteria? Like, what do you advise them on a tactical basis related to social media?
That's very individual. If my clients want to be on social media, I'm going to teach them how to use it effectively, but so that it doesn't wear them down. If they don't want to be on social media, what I do is teach them how to create a profile to then use the profile if people find it because of keywords, key phrases, or hashtags that are being used, but then direct that traffic to their website. So it's very client specific, and really it depends too on what their business is and what their goals are. If they want to be on social media, like I said, we'll be strategic about it. But if, I'm very cautious, and I say this, if you find yourself looking at other people in your niche and you think, oh my gosh, they're just blowing it out of the water, I'm never going to be able to do this, or they've already got all the clients, I'm never going to attract clients, or, oh, I should have used that messaging, but now I saw them use it, so I can't use it. That's where those distractions, until you have the foundation built, it's nice to not have those distractions because it creates confusion. And if we're confused, then our customers are going to be confused, and confused people don't buy. So we don't want to open the door for any opportunities to create confusion. There's a time and a place for social media, but a lot of my people don't want to be on social media. So I use strategies, or teach them strategies that are exclusive of social media, but we may create a beautiful profile so that then that can direct them to the website where we really want them to be.
I may steal that from you. Confused people don't buy. That is a fantastic phrase, fantastic way to
They
put it.
don't,
It's true.
and I think, in what you do, the work you do with ads, it's so critical to have clarity around that. And like we said at the beginning, what differentiates you? What is your personal brand? How do you represent yourself? And who do you want to attract? Who are those soulmate people?
So to anyone, let's say someone is watching this or listening to this, and she's working, more in the corporate 9-to-5 world, considering making that transition over to the entrepreneurial side of things. What words of advice would you give her as she makes this significant, life-changing decision?
I would say invest in building the solid foundation up front. You can try to do it yourself, but it's going to delay things. And not only is it going to delay things, you're piecemealing and you're going to have to backtrack. So if you go all in and invest up front with the help that you need, we're not all website designers, we're not all graphic designers, and we want to create that foundation where it doesn't have to be changed in 6 months or a year. we can focus on actually building the business, working on the business and in the business efficiently without being distracted by, oh gosh, you know what, I should have done this different with my logo, or now I have to do this page of my website, or we didn't have any SEO on the website and now we have to go back in and redo all the copy because it wasn't written for SEO. All of that stuff can delay your progress and your success insurmountably. And so my biggest recommendation is to invest in people that can help you. And oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. And that's where, hiring someone to help you can really be a game changer, especially if you want to transition from that 9-to-5 into an entrepreneurial journey or your own business. You're going to have more success faster if you hire the help up front. It's worth the investment. The ROI is always there.
Find the right team, build the right foundation. And although I'm biased, I very much see this happen all the time on the advertising side of things, where people try DIY and end up either saying, oh, Google Ads doesn't work because their approach to it didn't work, or saying, I wish I'd found somebody 6 months ago. I could have saved X amount of dollars that I just threw down the drain before finding the right people. I think that extends to, like you said, everything SEO, website design, just even having someone to come alongside and say, how do we approach the business, and what questions should I be asking? Well, I will end with the final question, which is, where is the best place that people can learn more about you and get in contact with you?
The best place is my website, therobyngraham.com, and there you can find all the information you want about me, but you can also access free resources on the resource page and connect with me there. All my social links are on the website, so anything that you want to find out about me is right there on the website.
Fantastic. Well, Robyn, thank you again so much for joining, and to everyone watching and listening, thanks for your time. Hope that you found this to be valuable, and definitely go check out therobyngraham.com. Download some of those free resources and reach out to Robyn to see how she can help you in your business. Until next time, it's John signing off.
Thanks, John.